our data set has been loaded. We have 1,000 rows of data, but we realize that certain data needs to be excluded. To do that, we have a file that contains, for example, the data that already exists in the database. We don't want to include data that already exists in the database. We only want the new data. So with PowerQuery, we're going to get some new data, in this case, our data that needs to be excluded. I'll get it from a text file. There on our C drive somewhere is an exclusion file. I'll look it up in the temporary folder. There you go. And to be more specific, this one I altered a little bit so it contains a few lines that need to be excluded. There. Right. So these lines of data already exist in our database and no longer need to be included into our databases. So I'll load these or transform these, to be honest, and I'll just keep the keys because we don't need all of the data. We just need the data that is specific to the exclusion. Is going to be the email. So I'm going to right click, remove other columns. That's the list we're going to keep. To make sure that we don't have duplicates, we can always click remove rows, remove duplicates. We don't have any duplicate rows. And this needs to be excluded from the other query. So in our other query, which inconveniently still called C, I'm going to call this our employee data. We're going to exclude the data that already exists in our database. And to do that, we can actually use an exclusion, a join, if you like. Actually, I click the email to check that it's text because I want it to be the same type as the one that I'm going to use to exclude. So now I'll click merge. I'll just click merge. That should be fine. It might give us a list of queries. It gives us the list of queries we wish to check. And I select the columns that he has to match. Those are 60 lines out of our 1,000 rows that he has matched. In this case, I'm going to choose a left anti-join. That means that it's going to retrieve all of the data from query 1 that does not match query 2. We should no longer see Carly Burns or Stephanie O'Neill or Cherike Fish or Amal Pruitt in the next run of this query. So I'm going to confirm with OK. And I can confirm with OK. Of course, it says null everywhere because these rows no longer can match with the first one. And as we see, those specific people that were listed are no longer in the file. So now I close and load. I'm only going to create a connection, but Carly Burns has disappeared from our query. That's how we can exclude data from our query. Cool, isn't it? Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and see you on the next video. Cheers.